Welcome to another deep dive with us. This time we are going to crack open Good to Great
Ah, good to the great.
by Jim Collins and
Yeah.
really get into it and figure out what makes companies go from good to great.
Yeah, this is a classic,
Yeah.
and I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what I really loved about this one, and I think it's a good selling point for anyone who might be listening, is that this isn't just about Fortune 500 companies.
Right.
This is about teams.
Yeah.
This is about personal goals.
Yeah.
This is even about nonprofits.
Absolutely. And Collins is very clear about that in the book.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that makes it so compelling is that it's not just
Mhm.
for, the upper echelon of, you know,
Corporate America.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think there's a lot to be gleaned from this, whether you are, a
Very valuable.
solopreneur or whether you are, you know, part of a small team or a giant corporation. Yeah, and he states that very clearly, like right in the beginning.
Yeah.
This is you can apply these principles to
Right.
any
Yep.
organization or any team or even to your own life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm excited to dive into that with you.
I think one of the things that's important to establish
Okay.
right at the beginning is the scope of Collins's research.
Okay.
So, this isn't just like a collection of anecdotes.
Yeah.
He and his team
Yep.
analyzed over 1,400 companies.
Wow.
But they were really interested in these,
Okay.
these 11 that they identified as the good to great companies that consistently outperformed the market for 15 years.
Wow.
So they weren't just,
There's a real method to it.
yeah, it wasn't a lucky streak. It wasn't,
Yeah.
a circumstance. There was something that they were doing
Right.
that enabled them to,
Crack the code.
yeah, crack the code exactly and
Mhm.
achieve this
I love it.
level of sustained success.
I love it. So let's dive into
Yeah.
one of those principles
Okay.
that we see right at the beginning,
Okay.
and that is level 5 leadership.
Level 5 leadership. All right.
Now, when I first read that, I was like, level 5 leadership?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, and it's it's one of the things that kind of sets the stage for the rest of the book is
Okay.
that it challenges our typical image of what a leader is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we tend to think of a leader as
Right.
someone who is, charismatic
Right.
and, take charge and
Right. The big personality.
yeah, the big personality, right?
Yeah.
And level 5 leadership is
Correct.
kind of
Is it not that?
it's not quite that and
Right.
in some ways it's almost paradoxical.
Oh, okay.
So these level 5 leaders, as Collins describes them,
Okay.
they have this intense professional will.
Okay.
They're very driven.
Okay.
They're determined to achieve results. Okay, but it's paired with this genuine humility.
Okay. So
So-
they're not like,
So it's not about
it's not about ego.
not about
Right.
personal ambition. It's really about
Right.
the success of the company.
So it's a very selfless type of leadership?
It's a very selfless type of leadership.
Right.
Like it's think of it as like a
Okay.
quiet determination.
Okay.
They're not seeking the spotlight. They're not,
Right.
they're not
Yeah.
trying to be the face of the company.
Right. They're just laser focused on the results.
They're laser focused on the company's success.
Okay. So do you have an example of someone like that?
Yeah, so one of the examples that Collins gives in the book is Darwin Smith,
Okay.
who was the CEO of Kimberly-Clark.
Okay. I know Kimberly Clark.
Yeah.
Kleenex and all that.
Exactly, Huggies, diapers, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he made some really bold decisions. One of the most famous ones was he decided to sell off their core business,
Yeah.
which was paper mills.
Wait, so they were known for paper mills and he sold that off.
They were known for paper mills.
Wow.
And he said, you know what? We're going to focus on consumer products
Wow.
like diapers and tissues.
Wow. That's a bold move.
It was a bold move.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it caused an uproar at the time.
I'm sure it did.
But he had this unwavering belief
Okay.
in the long-term vision,
Right.
and he wasn't afraid to make tough choices.
Right. He was willing to make the hard choice, even though it might have been unpopular.
Exactly, and he prioritized the company's
Right, so
future
that's-
over short-term gains
Yeah.
or even, personal risk.
Wow. So he sounds like a level 5 leader.
He's a classic example of a level 5 leader.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting to think about how this principle might apply to
Right.
your own world.
Yeah.
Can you think of anyone
In my own life.
in your field, in your world,
Yeah.
who embodies this kind of quiet yet incredibly effective
Right.
leadership style.
Yeah.
Someone who might not be, the loudest voice in the room,
Right, yeah.
but who is driving real lasting results.
Yeah. It's really interesting to think about because we're always taught about like the charismatic leader
Right.
and the one that's out there.
Yeah, the one who's, the Steve Jobs type.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to think about. Maybe it's not always about that.
Yeah, it challenges our assumptions
Yeah.
about what effective leadership
Yeah.
looks like.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I like that one. That's a good one to start off with.
Yeah, that's a good one to start off with, and then we can move on to another principle, which is
Oh, let's do it.
first who, then what.
First who, then what? So who's on first?
Who's on first, exactly.
Okay.
So this one is interesting because it kind of
Okay.
flips the script
All right.
on how most organizations think about
Okay.
strategy.
Okay.
So typically, the sort of the traditional approach is
Okay.
you come up with a grand plan.
Okay, got it.
Right.
Big strategy.
Big strategy.
Then you find the people.
And then you go out and you find the people
Right.
to execute it.
Got it.
But Collins suggests
Okay.
that you actually
Flip it.
flip it
Okay.
and you build the right team first.
So you get your dream team together and then you decide where you're going.
Yeah. It's like
Interesting.
gathering a crew
Okay.
of exceptionally talented,
Okay.
dedicated sailors.
Okay.
You know that you've got the best people on board
Yeah.
even before you've
Finalize the destination.
finalized the exact destination.
Okay.
And their combined expertise
Yeah.
will help navigate any storm.
Okay, I like this. I
Yeah.
like this analogy.
Yeah, it's a powerful
Oh.
analogy, and I think it really
Yeah.
gets at the heart of what
Fair.
Collins is trying to say here, which is
Yeah, but I do have a question about that. So you get this dream team together, right?
right.
You get your Navy SEALs all together.
Yeah.
You got your, the best of the best.
Yeah.
But how do you
attract them
attract them if you don't know what you're doing?
if you don't have a clear vision?
Right, because they're going to be like, well, what are we doing?
Well, and that's where things get
Okay.
interesting because it challenges you to think about hiring differently. It's
Okay.
not just about skills on a resume.
Right.
It's about
Sure.
shared values. It's about
Okay.
a growth mindset.
Okay.
It's about the ability to adapt.
So you look more for like the personality and their drive.
You're looking for the underlying
Okay.
traits that
I
they,
do.
the kind of the core of who they are,
Right.
as opposed to just
Okay.
can they do this particular task?
Okay, got it.
And it's
Okay.
it's really about
Okay.
building a team that can collectively problem solve and innovate,
Okay.
regardless of the
So they can figure it out.
specific challenge
Okay,
at
got it.
hand.
I like that.
So now
So-
imagine
Yeah.
applying that to your own team or project.
Sure.
Are you surrounding yourself with people
That-
who challenge you,
Right.
who bring diverse perspective,
Oh.
who are ready to tackle
Right.
whatever comes next?
And that is how you go from good to great.
That's a key part of it.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
All right, so we've talked about level 5 leadership. We've talked about first who, then what.
Yeah.
Let's move on to another one,
Hit me.
which is the hedgehog concept.
The hedgehog concept. What is so this one?
What is a hedgehog concept?
So Collins
Right.
uses this contrast between foxes and hedgehogs
Foxes and hedgehogs.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
to illustrate this idea.
Okay.
So the idea is that
Okay.
foxes know many things.
They're very adaptable.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, they sly.
They can be sly, yeah.
Okay.
But hedgehogs know
Huh.
one big thing
Okay.
really well.
Okay.
And so in the business world,
Okay.
it's the hedgehog companies
Okay.
that emerge as the true winners.
So they're not spread too thin.
We're not spread too thin.
But focused.
They're not trying to be everything to everyone.
Okay, got it.
They're focused on becoming the absolute best
Okay.
at
get that.
one key thing.
Got it.
So they found their niche.
They found their one big thing,
They found their one big thing.
and they do it better than anyone.
And they do it better than anyone.
Okay. I like it.
All right, so how do you
Yeah, how do you find your inner hedgehog?
find your inner hedgehog? That's the question, right?
Because I want to know what my inner hedgehog is.
Yeah, so it's not just about randomly choosing something that you're good at. It's
Okay.
about identifying this
Okay.
sweet spot
Okay.
where 3 crucial circles
Okay.
intersect.
Okay.
So the first circle is,
Amy.
what are you truly passionate about?
Okay.
What ignites your team's energy?
Got it.
What gets you out of bed in the morning?
Okay, so you got to be passionate about
You
it.
got to be passionate about it.
Okay, what's number 2?
All right, number 2 is, what can you be
Okay.
the best in the world at.
Not just good.
Not just good, not just okay,
The best.
but truly exceptional.
Okay, so I got to love it, and I got to be the best at it.
You gotta love it. You gotta be the best at it.
Okay, this is getting tough.
And then the third circle
Okay.
is what drives your economic engine.
Oh, so it's got to make money.
It's got to make money. It's
Yeah.
got to be viable. It's got to
Okay,
be.
so it's got to be something that's good for the business.
Yeah, it's got to be something that actually brings in the profits.
Okay, got it.
So
So it can't just be a hobby.
it can't just be a hobby. It's got to be something that actually generates revenue.
Yeah, it's got to make business sense.
It's got to make business sense.
Okay,
So when those three circles align,
you've got your hedgehog.
you found your hedgehog
Okay.
and you unlock incredible potential.
Okay, so give me an example
All right, so one example
of a company that did this.
that Pollins gives in the book is Walgreens.
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 Okay, I know Walgreens.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they use the hedgehog concept to
Right.
become the dominant player
In the drugstore game.
in the convenience drugstore market.
Okay.
So they realized
Okay.
they couldn't beat supermarkets
Right.
on grocery prices.
Right. They're not going to be cheaper than a grocery
They
store.
weren't going to be cheaper than a grocery store,
Right.
and they couldn't beat
Oh,
specialized pharmacies
Okay.
on, rare medications.
okay. So they're not the cheapest.
Right.
And they don't have the specialized stuff.
Right.
But
What they could be
they could be.
was the most convenient option.
Okay, so they're convenient.
They're convenient,
Right.
and that laser focus on convenience
Right.
helped them
Okay.
streamline their operations,
Okay.
invest in the right technology,
Okay.
and ultimately achieve
Success.
remarkable success.
Okay, so their hedgehog
Yeah.
wasn't about being
It wasn't about being
the flashiest.
the
you know,
flashiest
or biggest,
or having the
having the most stuff.
widest selection.
It was just about being easy.
It was about being the easiest,
Okay.
the most convenient.
The most convenient.
It's brilliant.
And that's how they won.
That's how they got it.
And that's a concept that I think resonates
Okay.
beyond the business
Well,
world.
hell yeah, let's bring it in.
Yeah.
Let's bring it in.
So think about
Oh.
your own goals and aspirations.
All right.
I'm thinking,
What's your hedgehog?
what's my hedgehog? I don't know.
What's that one thing
Okay.
you could be truly exceptional at?
Oh,
Something that lights you up,
okay.
could potentially drive success.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is I got to figure out
You got to figure out.
that thing that I'm passionate about.
You got to find that intersection between your
right.
passion,
Okay.
your potential,
Okay.
and your path
Path to success.
to impact. Yeah.
Okay. So that's my homework.
That's your homework.
I got to figure out my hedgehog.
All right, so we've talked about identifying your strengths.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about
Okay.
how you navigate
That-
challenges.
Okay.
And this is where
Well, this is where it gets real.
it gets real.
Okay.
Confronting the brutal facts comes in.
Confronting the brutal facts.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So it's about
Yeah.
acknowledging reality
Okay.
even when it's uncomfortable.
Even when I don't want to.
Even when you don't want to.
Okay.
And Collins actually links this
Okay.
to this concept called the Stockdale paradox.
The Stockdale paradox.
Yeah.
I love that name already.
Yeah. And it's named after Admiral Jim Stockdale,
Okay.
who survived years
Right.
as a prisoner of war
Oh, wow.
in Vietnam.
Okay.
And so he observed
In this really tough situation.
in his really tough situation
Yeah.
that the optimists,
Okay.
the ones who are like,
Yeah.
we're going to be out by Christmas,
Okay.
just kind of clinging to this
Right.
blind hope,
Right.
often didn't survive
Oh, well.
because they couldn't handle
The reality.
the harsh reality of their
Well,
situation.
Right.
So
So it's not about being blindly optimistic?
it's not about being blindly optimistic.
Oh,
Stockdale himself said, I never lost faith
Oh,
that I would prevail,
okay.
but he didn't shy away
It's reality.
from the brutal facts of his captivity.
So he had faith, but he also was realistic.
He was a realist. And so this is what Collins argues
Okay.
is crucial for companies, too. The companies that transitioned
Right.
from good to great,
Okay.
they didn't sugarcoat problems.
Right. They were honest with themselves.
They were honest with themselves,
Yeah.
but they never lost sight
But the vision.
of their ultimate vision.
Okay.
So it's about balancing
Yeah. Okay.
a clear-eyed
Yeah.
view of reality,
Yeah. The belief that you can still do it.
an unwavering belief
Okay.
in the possibility.
So you're not delusional, but you're also not pessimistic.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not sticking your head in the sand.
Right,
But
yeah.
you're also not, giving up
Right.
hope.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. And I think this is a really important
Yeah.
concept for resilience,
Right.
especially when you're navigating, unexpected obstacles or setbacks.
Right, because we all have
We
those.
all have those.
Yeah.
So how do you approach challenges
In my own life.
in your own life?
Yeah.
Do you acknowledge the brutal facts
Yep.
while maintaining faith in your ability to overcome them?
Okay, so I have to be able to look at the facts,
You gotta look at the facts,
but also
just so
know that I can do it.
believe in yourself.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah,
It's a good way to live.
that's a good way to live.
Yeah. All right, so we've talked about level 5 leadership.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about first who, then what.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about the hedgehog concept.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about confronting the brutal facts.
On a roll.
And this is just the beginning.
This is just the tip of the iceberg.
I love it.
Yeah.
So it's about finding that balance between, like looking at it realistically, but also still having that hope,
Yeah, having that grounded hope.
that grounded hope. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to another concept,
Right.
and that is a culture of discipline.
A culture of discipline.
Now, when I hear the word discipline, I think of
Yeah.
strict rules.
Yeah.
I think of someone cracking the whip.
Micromanaging.
Yeah, micromanaging. And
I don't know, it doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
it's easy to associate discipline with that kind of
Right.
rigidity.
Yeah.
But that's not what Collins is
Okay.
advocating for.
Okay.
It's not about top-down control.
Right.
It's not about creating a fear-based environment.
Okay.
It's really about
What is it about?
it's about cultivating
Okay.
self-discipline
Okay.
and accountability
Okay.
throughout the entire organization.
Okay. So it's not about forcing people to be disciplined.
It's not about forcing it.
It's about creating an environment where people want to be disciplined.
It's about creating a culture
Okay.
where everyone is
Yeah.
intrinsically motivated
Okay. I like that.
to do their best work.
Okay.
So, think about
Okay. Give me an example.
a high-performing
Okay.
sports team.
Okay.
Each player
Right.
has their own
Right.
individual training regimen,
Right.
their own dedication. They're all putting in the work.
To excellence.
Yeah.
But it's that collective
Yeah.
commitment to discipline,
Yeah.
that shared drive to
yeah.
push their limits,
Yeah.
that allows them to function as a
Okay.
cohesive,
Right.
unstoppable unit.
I like it.
So it's less about imposing rules
Right? Yeah.
and more about
That's
fostering a culture
Oh, that's
of
very-
ownership and
Right.
excellence.
So everyone's bought in,
Everyone's bought in.
and they all want to be the best.
They all want to be the best.
Okay,
and when
so-
you have that culture of discipline,
Okay.
you don't need to waste time and energy
Micromanaging?
micromanaging.
Valid.
People are empowered to take initiative,
Right.
make decisions,
Right.
and hold themselves accountable
I like
for
that.
the results.
It sounds like a beautiful utopia.
It's
Yeah.
a powerful concept.
Yeah.
And I'm curious,
Yeah.
how does this resonate with your own experiences?
Okay. So think about a time. Have you ever been part of a team or a project
Yeah.
where this kind of self-discipline
Right.
was palpable?
Sure.
Where everyone was rowing in the same direction?
Yeah.
Without needing constant oversight?
I've had a couple of those.
Yeah.
And they are amazing.
They're magical
They're magical
when it happens.
when it happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not about being told to be disciplined. It's about,
It's about having that inner drive.
okay,
to
to just do it.
Do your best
Got it.
to constantly improve,
Yeah.
to be a valuable contributor
Yeah.
to a shared goal.
I like that.
Yeah, that's a really cool.
Just a shift in perspective.
It is a shift in perspective.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
All right. So speaking of shifts,
Okay.
let's talk about
Get me.
the flywheel effect.
The flywheel effect, what is that?
All right. So this is one of the most memorable concepts from the book. And it uses this brilliant
Okay.
metaphor
Okay, I love a good metaphor.
to illustrate the power of momentum.
Okay.
So imagine
Okay.
a giant.
Okay, giant
Fancy
flywheel. Okay, I'm picturing it.
All right.
A big old metal wheel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it takes a lot of effort
Okay.
to get it moving initially.
It's heavy.
You're pushing and pushing and pushing,
Okay.
and it seems like nothing is happening. You
Right.
might even be tempted to
Give up.
give up,
Yeah.
but you got to keep pushing
Okay.
with each push.
Okay.
With each consistent effort,
Okay.
the flywheel starts to turn a little faster.
Okay.
It might be imperceptible at first.
So you're not going to see the results right away.
You're not going to see the results right away.
Okay.
But gradually,
If-
that momentum builds,
Okay.
and eventually
Yeah.
that momentum becomes
Unstoppable.
unstoppable.
Okay.
And that's what separates the good to great companies
Oh, yeah.
from the rest.
Okay.
They understand that achieving greatness
Yeah.
isn't about one
Okay.
grand heroic gesture.
Okay.
It's about a series of
Okay.
consistent disciplined actions.
So you're chipping away at it.
You're chipping away at it.
Okay.
You're building momentum over time.
It's the small things.
It's the small things.
The little wins.
It's the little wins that add up
That add up over time.
to big results.
Okay.
So they're not chasing quick fixes.
Okay.
They're pushing the flywheel,
Okay.
knowing that sustained effort will eventually
lead to success.
lead to breakthrough results.
I like it.
So it's not about finding that one magic bullet.
Right.
It's about
Right.
committing to
consistent action.
consistent action.
Yeah.
Even when you don't see immediate results.
And this applies to everything.
This applies to life.
Yeah.
This applies to business.
Your health.
This applies to relationships.
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about the times when you're putting in the work?
Yeah.
You're doing all the things.
You're pushing the flywheel.
But nothing's happening.
But it feels like you're spinning your wheels.
Yes.
That's where the concept of the doom loop comes in.
The doom loop.
The doom loop.
Okay, this sounds scary.
It can be scary.
Okay.
So this is what happens when companies are constantly reacting to crises.
Oh, so they're just like
they're putting out fires.
putting out fires all the time.
Yeah, they're jumping from one quick fix
to the next.
without
strategy.
clear strategy.
Okay.
It's like they're frantically running
Okay.
on a hamster wheel.
They're just going and going and going,
They're expending a lot of energy,
but getting nowhere.
but going nowhere.
Okay.
They're not building momentum.
Right.
They're stuck
They're just stuck.
in a cycle of reactivity.
Okay, so how do you avoid that?
So this is where self-awareness becomes critical.
Got it.
It's about taking a step back
Right.
and asking yourself,
Am I in the doom loop?
am I pushing a flywheel?
Okay.
Am I steadily building momentum towards something meaningful?
Right.
Or am I caught in a doom loop?
Okay.
Reacting to the latest crisis without a clear sense of direction.
It's so easy to get caught up
It's so easy
in the day-to-day.
to get caught in the whirlwind.
Yeah, and not realize that you're not actually moving forward.
Exactly.
I like that distinction between like the flywheel and the doom loop.
Yeah, it's a powerful distinction.
Okay, so we've talked about building a good team.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about discipline.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about, this momentum.
Yeah.
But what about
technology?
technology? Because it's like
The elephant in the room.
it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. And
So what's the deal with technology?
it's easy to think that technology is
An answer.
the key to everything.
Yeah.
That, the latest gadget
Right.
or software.
It's going to solve all my
It's
problems.
going to magically transform
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
business
My life.
or your life.
Yeah.
But good to great
Okay.
offers a more
Okay.
nuanced perspective.
Okay.
And one of the key
Well,
takeaways is that technology is a tool,
Okay.
not a savior.
So it's not going to fix everything.
It's not going to fix everything.
Oh, okay.
It's not a magic bullet.
Okay.
So
So don't go chasing after every new thing.
the good to great companies,
So
they didn't chase fads.
okay.
They used technology
Oh.
thoughtfully to amplify
Existing strengths.
existing strength.
Okay, so they were already good at something.
They were already good at something.
And they said, okay, how can we use technology to
make us even better.
make us even better?
Yeah.
Okay.
They understood that technology is an accelerator,
Okay.
not a crutch.
It's not a crutch.
So it's not about
the-
becoming a tech company.
Right.
It's about using technology to
To get better at what you're already good at.
become an even better version
Okay.
of whatever it is
Right.
you already excel at.
Got it. Okay, I like that.
So think about
Yeah.
how technology
Right.
can help you streamline
Your processes.
your processes,
Okay.
connect with
Your audience.
your audience,
Right.
deliver your products and services
More effectively.
more effectively. It's about leveraging technology to become
More efficient.
more efficient,
Okay.
more impactful,
Okay.
and ultimately more successful
Okay.
in
I
achieving
think goals.
your goals.
Okay, so it can help you.
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
Okay, and this doesn't just apply to business. This applies
As well as to life.
to my life.
Yeah. To your personal goals.
Right.
Think about your own
Right. How am I using technology in my life?
projects.
Yeah.
Are you using technology
Yeah.
to support your strengths?
Right.
To help you
Achieve my goals.
achieve what you want?
Right.
Or is it becoming a distraction?
That's a good question.
Pulling you away?
Because it can be.
That's from what truly matters.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've all had that experience.
I think we all have.
Yeah.
Where, we get sucked into
The scroll holes.
The scroll hole.
The doom scroll.
By doom scroll.
And, we're spending hours
Yeah.
on things that aren't actually moving us forward.
Yeah, and we're like, wait, what was I doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that's a good point. So it's not about...
It's not about rejecting technology.
No.
It's about being mindful of how you use it.
Okay.
And making sure it's serving
Your goals.
not the other way around.
Not dictating them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right, so...
I feel like we've covered a lot.
We've covered a lot.
I want to bring it back to
Yeah.
the human element here.
Okay.
We've talked about,
Leadership.
leadership, teamwork,
Being-
discipline,
What needs to
technology.
do
But what about
the inner game.
the inner game? Yeah, how do all of these principles apply to personal growth?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that makes Good to Great
Okay.
so compelling
Okay.
is that it
Stop.
transcends the business world.
Okay.
These principles aren't just for
CEOs?
CEOs or
words.
boardrooms.
Okay.
They're applicable to
Life.
teams, projects,
Okay.
and even individual goals.
So even if I'm just working on myself,
Even if you're just working on yourself,
okay,
these insights can be
valuable.
incredibly valuable.
Okay.
So it's about recognizing that
Yeah.
the journey from good to great isn't just about external achievements.
Okay.
It's about cultivating
Okay.
the right mindset,
Okay.
building
Strong relationships.
strong relationships,
Yeah.
and embracing a commitment to
Continuous improvement.
continuous improvement.
Okay.
So whether you're leading a team,
Right.
launching a startup,
Right.
writing a book,
Right.
or simply striving to become
A better person.
a better version of yourself,
Yeah.
these principles can help.
Okay. So what you're saying is this applies to
It's about understanding that
anyone.
the principles of sustainable success
Yeah.
are universal.
I like that.
They apply regardless of
Okay.
the specific domain
Right.
or industry.
It's about being a better human.
It's about being a better human.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've covered a lot of ground here,
We've covered a lot of ground.
but I think it's been really valuable.
It's been a great exploration.
Yeah.
And it's a journey that never really ends right.
Right. It's always striving to be better.
Always striving, always learning, always growing.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. So it's not about reaching some sort of endpoint.
Right. It's about the journey.
It's about the journey. It's about the process.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
All right. So
Yeah.
just to kind of
Recap.
bring it all together.
Yeah. Let's bring it all together. We started with
Level 5 leadership.
level 5 leadership, those humble leaders.
Right. With the unwavering resolve.
With that quiet determination.
Yeah.
Then we talked about
First, who, then what?
first who, then what?
Get the right people on the bus. Get the right people on the bus, then figure out where you're going.
Yeah.
We talked about
The hedgehog concept.
the hedgehog concept.
Find your hedgehog.
Find your one big thing.
Yeah.
We talked about
Confronting the brutal facts.
confronting the brutal facts.
Yeah.
Embracing the Stockdale paradox.
Right. Having that grounded hope.
Having that grounded hope, that balance
Yeah.
of realism and optimism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A culture of discipline.
A culture of discipline.
Yeah, where everyone's on board.
Where everyone is intrinsically motivated
Yeah.
to do their best.
To be their best.
The flywheel effect.
The flywheel effect.
Getting that momentum going.
Building momentum over time.
And we talked about, suddenly we talked about
Technology
as a tool.
as an accelerator.
Right.
Not a crutch.
Right. It's not going to fix everything.
It's not going to fix everything.
Okay, so I feel like we've covered
We covered a lot.
the main points of good to great.
It's core principles.
What I love about this is that it's not just theory.
It's actionable.
It's actionable. Yeah. Like you can actually take these principles
and apply them
and do something with them.
to your own life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we're wrapping up here,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listeners with maybe
A challenge.
a challenge. Yeah, like
a final thought.
a final thought to ponder.
Yeah. So of all these things that we talked about today,
Yeah.
what is the one that resonated with you the most?
And more importantly,
Yeah.
how can you start applying it
To your life.
to your work, your relationships, your personal growth?
Yeah. It's all about taking action.
It's all about taking action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just reading the book.
Not just listening to this podcast.
Right. But actually doing something.
But actually doing something with it.
Yeah.
That's where the real magic happens.
Yeah. So
This has been another deep dive.
thanks for joining us.
We hope you enjoyed it.
And we'll see you next time.
For another deep dive into
The world of transformative ideas.
All right, thanks for listening, everybody.